Happy holidays, everybody. I'm back to celebrate the end of the year with another classic Christmas rap record. In fact, this time to go classic, we're going really old school, like really old school. The old school disco era, way back in the very beginning, to 1980 with Super J, Santa's Rap Party on Sound of New York Records. Now, I say the very beginning, it's not the first Christmas rap record. Of course, Curtis Blow holds that honor, but this is, a close second. In this one, Super J is taking on the persona of Santa Claus. So he's rapping as Santa Claus, rapping to you, sort of like Kool Moe Dee did in the Third Base Classic Xmas rap. The other guys rapped about Christmas in general, but Kool Moe Dee was Santa Claus. Curtis Blow is rapping in general. Super J, here we go. Main MC is rapping as Santa Claus, and as the title suggests, Santa's Rap Party, he's talking about parties and throwing a party and the kind of parties he throws and getting with the ladies, actually a lot about the ladies, and that's it. It's just kind of a fun old school classic record. But the big question, the predominant question that I've always had with this record is just, who is Super J? Because ostensibly, this is his only record. Technically, actually, theoretically, there is another record also from 1980 called Super J's Love Theme, which came out after this, which you can tell from the catalog numbers. This is 712. That one is like 714, I think. But that is just the instrumental to this. So there's no additional rapping on there. There's no rapping on there at all. This is really the only Super J rap record, and the two of them are the only Super J records, period. One thing you might notice on here is that the runtime seems to suggest that this is a 16-minute long song, like those classic Jimmy Spicer or the full version of Rapper's Delight or something where they're just rapping and rapping and rapping. But actually, that is completely incorrect. I don't really know where the 16 comes from. I mean, it's 16:00, right where the runtime usually is, but maybe it's not the runtime because it's not even close. This is like a 5.5-minute song. The B-side, which is the instrumental, it's really an extended dub version. That's like 13 minutes long, which is still not 16, but it's pretty long. But it's basically the instrumental for the first 7 minutes. And then at the end, it just becomes the vocal version again and goes through all the same verses and all that. So basically it's just a super extended version where the band plays. Because again, disco era rap. So this is live music. This isn't like samples and loops. So it's the same music, they're playing the same song, but they just get to funk out. They have an extended percussion bit in the beginning, and everybody gets a chance to, shine a little bit more. So it's an extended instrumental, and then within the same song, the vocals from the A-side come back, and it's basically the A-side version. So it's like a super extended version. And then the Super J's Love Theme is really just purely instrumental. Producers, we got Peter Brown, who's the label owner. He owned or operated a couple small labels, including Sound of New York. He's kind of most famous maybe for recruiting Spoonie G and getting him to record for the first time. And so he's a producer, and he's also a musician. He's part of the orchestra for Lovebug Starski's early records. And he's probably playing on here, although the credits don't get really specific, but he has a producer and a writing credit. So he's presumably playing some of the music on here, although not all the music, because we've also got another name, Lonnie Johnson. In fact, there's a sub-label here, Lonnie Records, that is his label. He's released a couple other things, not many. And he's almost certainly responsible for the majority of the music here, because in 1979, the year before this, there was a record that he put out through Sound of New York still, called Johnson Products. And the song is called Jumpin' Johnson. And that also is the same instrumental as this. Again, live music being played, but they're playing the same song. So that came first. And then this came out, and he's just rapping over Jumpin' Johnson, essentially. And then that got re-released as Super J's Love Theme. And that repeating instrumental stuff doesn't even stop there. The same instrumental is also the instrumental for Woody's Rap, or Willie's Rap. Willie Wood, sometimes it's called Willie's Rap. The song is called Willie's Rap. He's also known as Woody Wood. I blogged about him just recently. I did a video about him. He's probably best known, not for Willie's Rap, which is his one big solo record, but for appearing on the amazing Frankie Beverly rap remix of Before I Let Go by the Bomb Squad. That guy, but back in 1980, he was on the same label, Sound of Music, and he had the same instrumental too. And, I mean, this is just a thing Sound of Music kind of did, because they also put out the Patty Duke, like the famous song, which Spoonie G used that instrumental for Spoonin' Rap. And that song is also on Sound of New York. And that same instrumental is also used for the Scoopy rap, which is another MC, not to be confused with Spoonie D. There's Scoopy, sometimes calls himself Scoopy D when you listen to the song. He uses the same Patty Duke instrumental, and another record called The Family Rap, which is a group that Mike C from the Fearless Four was in before putting out records as the Fearless Four. So they're all rapping over that one instrumental. It's like Sound of, New York only had like 2 or 3 instrumentals. For hip hop, they only really had those two. But they did also put out some other disco records with some other more kind of live music and different sounds. But for hip hop, they put out a bunch of records, all kind of rapping over the 2 instrumentals, and this is one of them. And a name that's not on here, but is on the Super J Love Theme record, is Kevin Johnson. Yes, that's Lonnie's brother, and he's also a part of or all of Johnson Products and all. That's not really clear. Again, there's only one Johnson Products record. Kevin Johnson plays on Johnson Products, so it could be assumed that he plays on here, or maybe not because maybe they didn't need him, but like he's definitely responsible for a lot of the music, but he's not credited on here specifically. So there's the 2 Johnson brothers, there's Peter Brown, and the last name is just Millie. No last name or anything like that, and she only gets a writing credit. She doesn't get production or anything. But if you're familiar with the song, you should know it's really not one guy, Super J. There are 3 people rapping on this record, clearly. Well, maybe not so clearly, because actually the first 2 guys kind of sound similar, and you might not even really necessarily notice if you're not paying attention that they switched MCs. But the first guy, the main guy who raps most of the song, like the first half at least, he's got kind of a put-on radio DJ kind of voice, which is, big at the time. And he's rapping, as Santa Claus.
Merry Christmas and good tidings to all. Here we go, y'all. Mink coats and diamond rings and a glass of real fine wine. Cadillacs and Mercedes, that's what I call a real good time. Long legs and short legs, hey, they're all fine with me. I don't get around but once a year, so I gotta get it on now, you see. Now some friends call me Santa, and some call me Old Nick. But when it comes to loving girls, I just don't miss a trick.
And then the second guy comes on, and he's not. There's nothing Christmassy at all about his record. He's not claiming to be Christmas, not claiming to be Santa Claus. He's got nothing to say about the holidays. It's just like a little quick kind of freestyle verse, not necessarily off the dome freestyle, but freestyle in the sense of like no particular subject.
Well, if you're fat, black, skinny, or whack, come on and get the bone right out your back. I said hip, y'all, to the beat, y'all, a beat big, y'all, come on. Well, I'm one of a kind, and I'll rock your mind, and I'll do it every time. I'm a ace of space, I'm a jack of all trades, so the ladies, I'm number 1. And if you raise your hands and arch your back, I'm sure we're gonna have some fun. I said on and on and on and on, like hot butter on the butt, my popcorn, float like a butterfly, and I sting like a bee. And if the ladies don't watch their panties, I'm faster than Muhammad Ali.
And then at the end, a female rapper comes on for just 2 little quick verses, like 4 bars each, real short stuff. And she brings it back to Christmas. She raps it as a woman writing a little letter to Santa Claus asking for pearls.
There's 365 days a year. Hey there, Santa, are you really there? I said, I love diamonds and I love pearls, all those pretty and shiny white pearls.
So getting back to who is Super J. Is Super J Kevin Johnson? His last name starts with a J. That definitely seems like a likely suspect. And again, though, Super J could be a name of the group, like all 3 people. And if it's a group, I wouldn't say it's an established long-term group that went on and did shows and all that. They probably just came together in the studio for a one-off lark to do a Christmas rap and also the love theme and part ways. So is Peter Brown one of them? I would say not. He's an older guy who kind of owned the label. I would suspect he's not rapping. He enlisted other people to rap. But again, this is sort of a novelty record. It's a Christmas silly song. So maybe he did jump on quickly to do that second verse, but I would guess not. And all we know about the female is she's probably Millie. It could also be Kevin Johnson. It could be Lonnie Johnson or Kevin Johnson. It could be Super J. Again, maybe there's not a Super J, maybe not a rapper named Super J at all. I actually, when I was younger, I used to think that maybe it was Master J, as in like TSOB, The Sounds of Brooklyn, Master J, and Michael D, because they kind of sound alike. But when I was listening to him, actually kind of for this video, I listened to him back to back, and no, not really. They don't sound that much alike. They sound like 2 different people. It's a little hard to tell though, because again, the guy who's doing the main verse, the Santa Claus stuff, is kind of putting on an artificial voice. So like he could be the same guy who's doing the second verse. He could be like, I'm rapping a Santa Claus in this voice, and now I'm not, this is my regular voice. It could be two guys. I think it's two guys. Probably not Master J, but again, that's what I used to think. Maybe one of the Johnsons, maybe just some other guy, except actually thinking about it, all the Sound of New York records, apart from this one, do credit the other rappers. So like when you look at the Scoopy rap, Scoopy gets a writing credit, you know, so they don't just say like Johnson wrote it because they wrote the music and they had all the publishing or whatever. Like they do credit Scoopy. This is really the only one that doesn't credit a rapper. They don't even credit like Super J. Yeah, I mean, they credit him as the artist, but they don't in the parenthetical writing credits underneath. So it's a mystery, but hopefully I've at least narrowed it down to some likely suspects. Again, it's a one-off record either way, but it's a fun one. It's a classic old school throwback. The instrumental is pretty good. It's not amazing. It's probably not quite as good as like some of the Sugar Hill Band kind of stuff, but they're good. It's solid. You know, it's a good rhythm. I mean, clearly they thought it was good. They reuse it again and again. These guys aren't great rappers, but they're passable. Like they do like kind of bite a lot, or the biting's going too far, but they use a lot of cliche stuff, like a lot of the kind of dip die, so socialize, and you know, like just a lot of refrains that everybody was using at the time they did too. So there's not, you know, necessarily a lot of like bold, you know, you wouldn't say like, wow, this is the next Grandmaster Caz, Grandmaster Melly Mel, Silver Fox kind of guys who are really like, you know, pushing, you know, not like the next Spoonie G and Kumo D guys who are really kind of pushing the art form further. Even back then, these are guys who are just kind of resting comfortably and like, this is what a rap is, here we go, you've heard it before. But they do put the fun Christmas spin on it, which again, that too wasn't original. Curtis Blow had come out. Scoopy actually raps a little bit about Christmas because he put the record out. I wouldn't call that a Christmas record, but he does say at the beginning like, hey, it's Christmas time and all, because I assume just because he's rapping in December when they made the record. So it wasn't entirely original premise to do a Christmas rap then either. Although I guess this would be the first one rapping as Santa Claus, so that's a little bit of something. And regardless, boldly original, no. Good, fun, classic, old school disco hip hop record, you know. You want a Christmas record, Christmas rap record, you know, more of them came like in the 90s, like when Death Row started pumping them out and all these other kind of people, you know. But the disco era is really kind of lighthearted and fun and lends itself to a holiday rap record. So, you know, this is one of the classic kind of old school ones. There's other ones too, like the Sugar Plum Gang that I've covered before, and I'm sure I'll tackle some more in future videos. But this, like, right along, not as good as Curtis Blow's Christmas rapping. I have to say that too. But still, I don't want to denigrate this. This is a fun, good time. It's been repressed multiple times, so it's easily found. Rather famously, like Peanut Butter Wolf and Stones Throw Records re-released this. First on like a mixed CD, which I think I have because I got it for free. Like they just gave it out with orders. When you ordered anything, you could get the Christmas Rap CD. So I think I got that. But then later on, more notably, Peanut Butter Wolf put out like a little EP of like Christmas songs. There's only like 3 or 4 songs, and this was one of them. So this probably introduced this song to many, you know, younger hip hop audiences. But this is the original, and let's just listen to it now. Great record. We'll play some clips. And we'll go out, and I'll see you in 2025.
Now, if you ever wondered why I'm 6 so jolly, let me tell you about my happy days, and I'll tell you what you can do now. If you want to be real happy, then what you got